Hi everyone, this is Karen from Online Healing Community. Welcome to Creating Space. This is a space for to share stories and reflections related to personal growth and healing. And this afternoon, we're going to talk about understanding fear with Atma Sundar. So, can we call him up there? Hi Sundar, welcome to Creating Space. Welcome again.
Thank you,
So
thank you. Adma
Sundar,
Namaste. Thank you for having me.
thank you. Sundar is actually a motivational speaker. He's also the business development manager for Prana World, and he's a panic healer. And thank you for being here, Sundar. And this month, I saw that you've been talking about fear on your FB Live.
Yes, that's right.
Can
That's
you,
right.
can you start by talking about defining fear? What is fear for you, and what is fear really?
Okay, that's a really good question. So we all experience it, and we have some relation to the word fear. Usually, I feel it's something that we define as something that makes us scared, makes us afraid, or maybe we had wrong information and we tried to do something, it did not produce the results we expected. So now we have wrong expectations, and this develops as fear as well. So I think this is the general understanding, and same for me too.
Yeah. So when we don't get what we want, then sometimes fear develops. But you also mentioned in your FB Live that it's okay to be afraid sometimes. Like fear in a way protects us.
Yes, yes. So there's a lot of stigma around the word fear. Some people, sorry, so
It's fine.
some people use it as a tool to motivate people. They say channel your fear or run from your fear, run into something better. um, and actually, I feel like when you allow yourself to take control, when you're looking at it and say, yes, yes, I am afraid, I am scared of it, but it's okay to talk about it. You give yourself some control that you have the ability to change your life.
I completely agree with that. That sometimes you just have to express that you're afraid, and then you can change that. But I actually have a difficult relationship with fear before. I thought that it's something that I have to fight with. So you're saying that it's okay to actually express fear, and it's also okay to use fear as a direction. I actually want you to comment on something that another teacher talks about. He's saying that sometimes people are so afraid of the dark, but he's saying that the point of darkness is to be born into your soul, to be born into yourself. People are waiting for your gift, and you have to be prepared first. When the dark night comes, it's painful, but it is your way to survive.
Yeah, I feel he's very right. And actually, so when there's a lot of people watching today. We're very much in the spiritual scene. A lot of this is a lot of ideas and a lot of words. But let me give you some really powerful examples of people who faced their fears, people who saw it and then developed themselves. It was because of those, like he says, the dark night or the dark moment. Some of the most amazing people that we know in the world, the things that they've done, was after they had conquered that dark part of their life. It was necessary, right? So if you look at, okay, very famous story, worldwide example is KFC, right? So as we know, Colonel Sanders, right? He had a very good business. He was selling his home recipe chicken, and one day the government had built a flyover that goes over his place, and nobody stayed at his bed and breakfast anymore, right? So imagine from having something that you could look forward to retire in, suddenly in your old age, in your 50s, this is when most people think like, I should be set for life, or I should have made certain plans to take care of myself. Suddenly everything goes away. It's a very scary time to not have a backup plan. But that didn't stop him, right? It was because the highway was built, he had to sell his inn, he had to sell everything he owned, the entire way of life he had built for 50 years. That's a difficult thing to throw away, or to have taken from you. So, you can say that was one of his darkest moments. But he looked at it and he said, well, of all, he used to sell a lot of things, not just chicken. And he said, of all the things, I cook chicken the best. Let me go and sell this recipe. And at the time, if you actually know his story, at the time, what he was doing, today we call it royalty. You take somebody's idea to do something, you pay them a portion of the income. At that time, this idea did not exist. KFC, Colonel Sanders, had created the idea of royalty. So, this is something that, on a big scale, he had done it worldwide, global scale. He had a lot of help as well. Okay, but even for you, right? Even for you, Karen, and the people listening, if you think about this, um, what are some of the best moments in your life now that you have and you treasure and you teach other people? Right? Well, what is something that you do? It must have been something that you had suffered, you had gone through, you had learned your lessons, you'd come out on top. It might not be on a global scale, but hey, look at you helping people already.
I agree. It's really from the challenges and the darkness that we're able to get the most lessons.
Yeah.
I agree. But people afraid of fear. Um, yeah, afraid of fear. Like there's this misconception that darkness is not good or fear is not good. Like everybody keeps on like fighting fear. And even me, for the longest time, I've always thought of fighting fear. It's really just now that there's another way to look at it. Have you actually thought, is it possible to defend fear or embrace fear?
Ah, okay. I wouldn't go as far as to say to embrace it. Like, let's say you're afraid of parrots. Let's just,
Right,
you're afraid
right.
of parrots. I wouldn't say like, go out there and say, send me all your parrots. I think that would be crazy. You already know you have a problem with parrots. Don't go and embrace this. You might. Okay, so there is a technique to this. Okay, let's look at it for a big picture at the moment, right? So as we go through life, you have your consistent life, and then something kind of knocks you or shakes you, and you go down for a minute, right? And this at this bottom point where you're in darkness is what we're using some words as fear to describe it. But once you get up, right? Once you pick yourself up, you stand up, then there is this peak, right? Nothing stays down forever; it will go up. So big picture, this is what you're doing, right? You have a problem, you conquer your problem, and then you go up. So now a lot of people are talking about this part down here. Conquering your fears, conquering your problems, there are different techniques, different ways to do it. Some people who are very willful, very directed, they would say, yes, go head on, fight it. If you're afraid of parrots, go and live in a bird aviary, and see as many parrots as you can, right? So that's a very willful way, like you're pushing your way through. There's some people who do it in a much easier way. So like in pranic healing, what we do is we try to disintegrate the seeds that may have caused the fear. I know in some other meditations there's one called like the inner child, where it's more of an intellectual exercise. You go into yourself, you go back into the time where the fear came about, you try to rationalize it, and then you come back to present day. So there are many techniques. When people say you should fight the fear or you should embrace it, you should be aware of which part of this cycle are they actually on.
So there are different ways to go about it depending
Yeah.
on what you believe in, number one, and you're saying of depending on which part of the cycle that you believe in. But it's interesting. You
Yeah.
mentioned that in panic healing, you don't like barrage through the fear. You're saying there's a technique.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
don't go through the wall, right? You talk about seeds.
Yeah. So okay. So there are a few things to consider here. Now, there's a lot of techniques about fighting fear or facing your fears, right? And the reason for this is because it's a very willful approach. So you also have to, take a step back and understand the people telling you this, they are also very willful people, right? That's why they believe in a willful technique. So willful people are not only willful in fighting fear, they're also very willful in doing marketing. They're also very willful in spreading the message. So that's why these are the first people that you meet because they're always geared up, they're always out there, right? There are a lot of people who are also a bit more passive, a bit more loving, and they don't put themselves out there. You got to go find them. So pranic healing is one of these techniques. Pranic healing, we don't force things on you. We're just like, okay, so the fear is here. Basically, fear is a certain vibration of energy. If you can tap into that and just remove that energy from the body, well, no more fear.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah,
love how gentle it seems. Like you don't like
yeah,
there's no force. There's no force
yeah.
there.
So one of a very good. Let me give you a example to make this a bit more. I know a guy, who's a really good friend of mine, and he has a fear of commitment, right? So after some time, when they did psychotherapy to erase this, and then they were erasing all these patterns of commitment. After some time, he actually had entered into a job where he would take contract jobs at the time because he didn't want to be tied down to a company for too long. So after doing all this, somehow this opportunity came where he had a long-term contract where he would be bonded to the company, and it was really surprising that he said yes.
Sometimes it's not really about you. Sometimes you don't get what you want, not because of circumstances. You're talking about this. But sometimes it's internal.
Yeah,
It's not the outside circumstances that allow you to make things happen or allow you not to make things happen. It's the internal circumstance, and that's the thing that happened to the guy, right? When the fear was
yeah,
removed, then the opportunity came.
yeah, exactly. And sometimes it comes, but we say no, right? And
Yes,
this time it
yes.
came, and I give you another one, where I think a lot of spiritual people on the energy path, on the spiritual path, can relate to this. Uh, it's about money. Okay, so some people feel when I do certain work, I do it out of the pureness of my heart. Just that you've been healed and you feel happy is good enough for me. And then the person who gets healed, the patient says, "Can can I pay you some money for your time, for your help, because I've been healed?" And the practitioner says, "No, no, no money required." This happens a lot, right? So it may be a fear that some people feel, if I accept money, then I'm no longer pure in my service because I'm doing it for compensation. I'm not doing it for out of purity, right? So this might be a fear of what people think of you, or your own expectations. So sometimes, like,
There's a
money
lot of
comes.
fears and
Yeah, money comes, but we say, no, no, I don't want. you know but the next time, once you disintegrate this fear, sometimes the next time it comes, you say, oh yes, well, thank you, you are going to help me to do more work.
yes. Actually, heart math trainer Wang said that fear is a depleting energy. Um, and what happens is if well other emotions also other than fear can deplete you. And so what happens is instead at the end of the day, instead of being like happy and charming and funny like you are, people tend to be grouchy and mad, and so the opportunities won't come if that's the case. Energy really affects your life, right? It's like in this the case of the spiritual teacher, the energy of fear of money actually affects his abundance.
That's right. Yeah.
But I love it when you say disintegrate fear. It's like because we don't look at fear. I don't look at fear that way. I don't know how to disintegrate it. Before there was a
Okay.
time that I looked at fear like a dragon, and so I just have to pass through it because I'm one of those willing people that you see. and I
Yeah.
don't know how to like just wave my wand and when you disintegrate fear, I kind of think that do I have to wave my wand and like and then it disappears?
Sorry. Forgive me for that. That is just a habit, you know. When I talk about pranic healing, it's a habit that I already start moving my hands. That's not required. um, okay,
It's fear.
yeah. So we're talking about fear as an energy, right? And you said you don't see it that way. Okay, let me try to relate the topic a little bit. It's like this: when you meet someone that you've never met before, let's say you're walking down the street, and someone comes up to you and they ask you for the time, or they ask you for a small donation that they just need to buy food or something, right? They're just asking for alms. Okay, so immediately when you see this person, we somehow have a judgment, right? To like a bearing to center us, to direct us. Is this person genuine? Is this person loving? Is this person really down on his luck? So we have this some sort of bearing, right? How does this happen? So what actually happens is that when someone talks to you, someone connects with you, you're actually forming a link with them and you're exchanging energy. So when you connect with them, immediately you feel very comfortable and you say, this is a monk or this is a saint. And I feel so good talking to them, right? It's so loving. I feel like just pouring out all my problems, because I feel it's a safe space. Even though I've never met this person before, I feel it's a safe space. On the other hand, some people's energy are a little bit sharp or toxic or judgmental. All right. So immediately when you say something and you feel like maybe I should stop because I don't think it's being well received. Sometimes we feel this way without actually the other person saying anything. We already have this feedback system that's happening in our aura, right? Or in our body. And this is actually the auric structure of the person you're talking to. So when you create a thought, when you create an emotion, it creates a certain vibration that comes with it, right? So for example, I'm sorry, I'm going to reduce the vibration a little bit. Okay. So for example, if someone's very angry with you, they're going to like point a finger and they're going to say some harsh words, and you also feel like, oh, I'm hurt. you know, it feels like that, right? So, but if someone's very loving, very kind, sometimes they put open arms, or they say namaste, they touch their heart, and they say kind things, right? The energy is very, very different, right? All these words that you use, all these thoughts and emotions that you have, they create a certain vibration around you, and when people are around you, they feel that. So this is about your auric structure. Now it's the same when we're talking about fear. So when you say like I'm afraid of a certain thing, and you repeat that again and again and again, because to you it's true, right? So you repeat that again, and every time you see fire or you see parrots, you go, oh my god, I'm scared of this, and you immediately go into the reflex action of running away. Sometimes your body isn't even really prepared. It's just that your thoughts and your emotions have already kind of said, it's a parrot, I'm running. you know Something like this, right? So what if you could just remove just that vibration of energy, the fear of parrots? Let's just pull this out of the system, throw it away, and suddenly your thoughts and emotions that used to contribute to the physical body running away is not there anymore. The physical body doesn't receive instruction to run away because it's been taken out of the system.
Wow. But how long will that take if
Uh,
this chronic thing people can remove? Because I know I have a celly, I call it a celly anyway, and the crystal thing, the key is for removing.
yeah. Okay, so usually this it's a two-person thing. It's the healer, how good the healer is, and also how cooperative the patient is. So in removing this, if the healer is very good, they ask the right questions, they know exactly where the problem is and what to pull out. If they don't know where the problem is, then they just have to do something in general for all the fears in your system. So understandably, this may take a little bit longer. And on the patient side, if they're very cooperative, they might say, "Hey, I'm just going to tell you everything. I'm not going to hide any information." And then they tell you like, this fear of parrots. It came when I was a kid because a parrot had bitten me on the hand. Sometimes the patient also doesn't know. They also go, "Oh, I don't know when this came about, but every time I see a parrot, I run." So it depends on the patient being cooperative as well. And if everything is in sync, I've seen masters in pranic healing. They just take one session and fear is gone.
Right. So you are doctors of energy,
I would
right? So this is
I wouldn't like to use the term doctor. I think it's because
uh,
it's
okay, but that's
yeah,
how I look at it though, because
yeah,
like
energy
you said, I
experts.
kind of
Yeah,
see yeah, that's a good
yeah,
phrase to look at it, because you're right. Like if you're angry, you're kind of like you said, you're kind of abrasive, and people don't won't go near you, and you won't have as much opportunity.
yeah.
And so I was thinking, so what you guys do is you help other people clear parts of their energy. How about for those who are listening right now and asking for practical tips? Aside, of course, panic healing is something that they can go through, or you can connect to Prana World. Sundar is actually part of business development for Prana World, so you can just Google it. We'll show you the link later. But aside from panic healing, what tips will can you share with them to help them overcome their fear?
Okay, so there are many techniques. One is being willful. You can go head on. So let's say, for example, you're afraid of a parrot. Try to get comfortable with the idea of holding a parrot, and then try to actually do it. You might fail the first few times, but continue doing it, and you'll get over it eventually. You'll see there's nothing scary. So there is another way, which is the loving and kind way. Where someone can help you, and then there's also ways where you can rationalize things, right? So I'll give you a good example. Uh, Thank you, mom. Okay. My mom has a bit of a love-hate relationship with ants. She doesn't
Oh,
like to see ants in the kitchen. Okay. So, and for me, it didn't bother me because I felt, well, they don't disturb anyone. They just come, take the crumbs, and they go, right? But my mom says, no, 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 they're insects. It means the house is dirty. It means that I'm not a clean person. My mom cannot handle this. So I said, Mom, they're nature's cleanup crew. So we're intellectually talking about this. So I told her, look at this. All they're doing is they're picking up food and going back home. Same thing you and me are doing, right? We're just going to work, picking up food, and coming back home. So I said, why don't you try this? Why don't you put a biscuit outside on the kitchen window and see what happens, right? And sure enough, the ants started going for the biscuit, and they didn't come into the kitchen anymore because now they had food outside, right? So
oh,
mom
I
used to put
love
a
it.
yeah. So mom used to put a
You
biscuit,
made
and
her
then she
understand how to
yeah
take care. Yeah, you made her understand, rationalize
yeah
that. Okay, you don't want them in the
yeah
kitchen. Probably they can be outside the house, the
yeah.
of the house, and they can.
And I said, it's nothing about you
Okay.
being clean. So her fear was that she wasn't doing her job right. She wasn't keeping the house clean. She didn't like that
Mm,
idea of herself. So, I told her
mm.
it's nothing about you. The ants are not bothered about you. They just want the biscuits. So
That's
she
a
put a
smart
biscuit
way to
outside.
convince
Yeah.
your mom.
Yeah. And then the
How is
ants
she with
started
the
going
ants?
for the biscuits. Yeah.
Great. How is she with the ants now? Is she friends with
Oh, she's
ants?
good. Well, she understands that, they're just doing their job in nature, and they're not
Right.
here to harm anyone. So she doesn't kill them anymore. She doesn't spray them away. She's gotten over her fear. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. But I'm not like that. Well, I use rationalization, but most of the time I just go through fear head on. The thing is, there's this quote that says, "One step of courage, and God will give you a thousandfold of help." So people say that if there's a fear, you just like take one step, and then it's easy. But if you're there, that one step, it's like you're on the brink of a hill, of a cliff, and that one step of courage is actually a step. off the cliff, and you're
Yeah.
not sure if there's a safety net that will catch you, or I was thinking I just have to go wing so I can fly, and and that's what that's how I that's why I always read when I'm afraid, because I'm usually afraid when I'm doing a big project, when I think it's big anyway,
Yeah.
and then I just need to take a step. And but I guess I think it's like for me it's like the cross of um fear and courage is right there when you're there at the cliff. And then but what helps me is to just think that to trust that if I take that step, there's a tapestry of nets that will support me, or I'll grow wings and fly.
Yeah.
What
Uh,
what say about courage and fear?
oh, very good. So, courage is more of an emotion. It's not an intellectual process. Courage is an emotion that pushes you through to certain things, and it's necessary. So, if you're going to overcome certain challenges, like standing on the edge of the cliff and taking that jump, you need a certain amount of courage. Even being,
Yeah,
certain fears, like you say about yourself embarking on a big project, right? Sometimes we have to break this down a bit because it's quite a complex situation. So, what is the fear really? Is the fear that if you procrastinate, you may have missed your opportunity and you miss your shot, right? Or is the fear that you might actually do it and then you might have wasted your time because people give you bad feedback, right? Or is the fear that what if I jump and I fail and I can't make a U-turn, I can't come back now? Some things is a one-way street, right? What is the fear really? So when you break this down, you see where are your mental blocks, and then when you have less of a block, it's easier for courage to push you forward.
Right, right. So
Yeah,
we have to understand where we're coming from. So it's easy. I understand where it is. I kind of have this
yeah,
belief. I love spirituality, and I love how it looks at your deeper issues. And I know it's coming from a belief that I'm not good enough, and so there's that. Or yeah.
yeah,
And so sometimes when
yeah,
I feel that a project is big, and I feel, oh no, I'm not good enough for this, so I freeze. But what always helps me is that I always trust. I think that is trust that the universe has my back, and that or a net will catch me. And you talk about this because this is when you talk about if you never overcome fear, you're stuck in the emotional and mental reality. Time moves, but you're kind of and until you fix this within yourself, you never move forward. And a lot of people, when they're afraid, it's not like they're stuck in a flat road. Just so you know, just to give people perspective, why people are afraid. They're stuck on top of that cliff, and that one edge is really just like one step forward is a jump off a big
yeah.
cliff. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So time works a bit differently. So when we're talking about fear, it's not in the physical body. It's not in the physical reality. It's not on a table. It's not in a book, right? That's not where fear is. Fear is actually in the thoughts, in the emotions. So it exists on a level that is non-physical, but it really affects the physical counterpart, right? So when we never solve this problem, we're stuck in time. Getting older doesn't change this. You still have to put in the work. You have to put in the effort. You have to go back to look at it, find out what caused it. So maybe I'll just elaborate a little bit on what happens, right? Okay. Sometimes when we go through life, there are traumatic events, really, really traumatic events. If you were to be placed in this event without being a matured person, you may be paralyzed from the amount of uh, damage or trauma it has caused, right? So the body has a self-defense mechanism. The body has amnesia, right? And it's absolute necessity. The body will forget certain things and then it will try to make up a new story. So it'll try to justify what has happened so in order to move forward, right? Now, It's this is a necessity, and it happens to all of us. Okay. So now, as you move forward in time, more and more things happen in your life. You also grow, you evolve, you become a bit more matured. You can now take a step and go back and see if a new event happens in your life, how come you're afraid of it? Go back and find out when was that first time that that amnesia had happened and you had created a story to tell yourself this was the new normal, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so that's what the body does.
I understand
And
that.
yeah, yeah.
I
So you
understand
need to do
that.
the inner work to go back and solve the problem. Otherwise, you're stuck.
I did that. Remember, I was telling you that I was afraid every time I do a big project, and then I did pranic healing for with a person for pranic psychotherapy. But also another thing I did was and which was very helpful, hypnotherapy, and we had to go back to a past when I first experienced when I was afraid. And it was like way back in the past when I was a child. And it's really a small thing. I was afraid of a homework, not doing that homework. And then that little child, the feeling of the small child not being good enough for that homework, actually, I just didn't realize that it followed me even as an adult. Like I'm really old now. Like I'm an adult. I won't say my age though. But
You look
but
young. You look
yeah,
young.
so there. Thank you. But from a child, from like a 6 year old, that feeling of being afraid of not being able to do a homework really well actually followed me until an adult. And only until I clear that fear and you know what, even if you don't do well, even if you fail your homework, you're still enough and you're still okay. That's the only time that I'm able to move forward. To move forward. So I understand where you're
Yeah,
coming from. That you
yeah,
really have to do the inner work.
yeah.
Since
And there's a lot of techniques, like you said, hypnotherapy. I didn't think of that actually. That's a good one. Yeah,
yeah. The pranic healing, of course, clearing energy that helps as well.
yeah,
And this thing that you say, you talk about doing the right thing. Sometimes when you're afraid, just do the
okay,
right thing.
cool. Yeah. So this is also the there's going to be a lot of situations that you've never been in before, you've never experienced. So what do you do when you get there and you're afraid, right? What do you do? And the best thing to do is just to do what's right. And this is not coming from me. This is coming from my teacher, Master Chua. He said the best way to overcome fear is simply to do what is right. And so what he meant by this is, you know, in the case where you're presented a choice and you had to make a decision, you had to do something out of your comfort zone or against your nature, do what is right. So, for example, if someone's asking you to, uh, you know, steal money, for example, and let's say in this community, corruption is very normal, right? If you didn't do it, then your application doesn't get approved. So you have to go and steal money from someone else, so that you can do these things. It's the way the system works, right? That's what they might tell you. It's the way the system works. You just have to do it, right? So in that moment, you don't know what's right and what's wrong. I mean, sorry, you don't know what's good and what's bad because everybody is doing it, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a moral compass and you try to ask yourself, uh, what would be the right thing to do, or what would I like to be done to me? Let's say I'm applicant number two, and just because applicant number one paid some money for corruption, would this be nice if someone had done that to me instead? That I was a better qualified applicant, but I got pushed aside because somebody else had cheated the system. So in that sense, try to think about what is right. How would you feel if it was done to you? And then you would make a good decision.
What is right? Because sometimes there's peer pressure, and of course, the environment can probably push you to do certain things.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Right.
and it's all right to fail. You gotta also. I'm not so sure in the Philippines. I think in most countries in Asia, though, I can say this quite a little bit of confidence. there is this culture where we're not supposed to fail. Yeah, yeah. So
No.
I think you know we're always afraid of failing, and we need to correct this. It's okay when you try something, you don't do it right, you try something, you fail. And when we see other people failing and we accept them for, they say, oh, all right, you tried something, you failed, just go ahead, try again. You know, we need to start getting that culture inside of us saying that, hey, this person is just trying to move forward in a good way. It's okay to make mistakes. Who doesn't make a mistake, right? So some people go like, oh, I gave you a chance before and you didn't do the job properly, so I'm not going to give you a second chance. I think this is something we should like remove. you know
But that's the culture and the education system. If you look at traditional education, it's all
yeah,
about the check marks. And the more check
yeah,
marks you have, so I agree, even in the Philippines, you want to
yeah,
get to the 100% or the
yeah.
99% of the time.
I've heard this before. What's the best way to intellectually counter this argument is that the most successful people in the world, they did not go through the traditional system, right?
That's
If you
why
want
most,
to, yeah. And think about it, universities are only studying what works in the world, and then they try to emulate this and make more of what works. So someone learned how to build a very good road, and then they studied, oh, what would be the best combination of cement, sand, and stones to make more roads, right? And then they teach this. But the first person to make roads never went to university.
true, true. Actually, here in the Philippines, the ones who are the top business people haven't graduated from college.
Right? So I'm not saying education is bad. Don't get me wrong. Education is good. It's nice. They teach you a lot of good things. But in the end, if you want to be a great person, you've got to do things out of the traditional. You've got to fail. KFC, he failed 1,000 restaurants before he got his contract. Thomas Edison tried to make 1,000 failures of light bulbs until he got it right. you know, you got to fail, man, and you got to be okay with failing. You got to be. It's all right. It's all right.
That's true. That's true. I love that. I love that message. Do
Yeah.
not be afraid of failing.
Yeah. And if you try to overcome your fear, you fail and you're still afraid, it's all right. Just try again.
Yeah, after several tries, you'll probably be brave. You'll
Yeah.
probably be brave. But a lot of people are afraid right now because of the pandemic. What can,
Hmm.
what will be your message for them?
Good, good. This is a very good question. I'm glad you brought it up. So, Master Chua says this: there is a fear based on imagination, and there is fear based on reality. Fear based on reality is necessary. It's a good thing. Don't remove this, right? So, for example, a fear of fire is good. So when you see a burning building, you don't run in. You stay outside. Okay. When you're on top of a tall building, you don't go and climb over the fence, right? You stay on the safe side of the fence. This is fear based on reality. This is good. Okay. There are some fears based on imagination. This one we've talked about today, and this you can remove. So when we're talking about coronavirus, right? You don't want to contract the virus and then figure out if what people are saying is real or not, because there's a chance you might die. so, so you want to take it as what is the right way to approach it? What's a good way to approach it, right? Because there's a chance that this is a one-way trip. If you get the virus, you might not be able to come back from this. So, this is fear based on reality. This is true. There is a chance of dying, and it's not. Some people don't even believe this. Some people say, "Oh no, it's just government propaganda." But at the same time, I also have friends on Facebook who said, please don't tell me that the virus is not real because my mom just died from it. And that's very very painful for me to repeat. Actually, there are people I know whose family is they're being affected and they're dying. So this is a fear based on reality. There is a chance something might happen to you. You should take as many precautions as you can.
Right. So your approach is different depending on what kind of fear there is. So you're
Yeah,
saying, yeah, we should also take precautions. But
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes we're also, yeah, because the fear is real. There's fear based in reality. However, there's amplified fear. Oh, of course, there's fear. There's fear based on reality. The next thing is people are more afraid than they should.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you say to
So
the, or
yeah.
people are like fear mongering, creating more
Mhm.
fear. So what do you say to that?
Yes, yes. This is a part of life. So to elaborate on this, um, there will always be people who will take advantage of the situation. So since everyone is afraid, some people will do it in a good way, right? Some people will say that, hey, everyone's afraid. I can make a business out of this. I can start selling masks, and make a business out of it. I can start selling hand sanitizers. They will take advantage of the situation. Some people do it in a way that's not great. Some people might say, oh, everyone is afraid. Now is my time to come and say, hey, I am the expert here. You believe me. And, we know a certain president, ex-president, who says,
Mhm.
oh, don't be afraid. you know. So some people will take advantage of the situation for their own reasons. This is part of life. Um, we have to also develop our intellectual ability to have some discernment. What is true, what is not. For example, like you say, fear mongering, and also there is a collective fear that becomes bigger than it needs to be, right? This is actually just a law of physics. When there is a group of people together, the energy amplifies, right? This is just physics. So, it is true. It does happen when certain enough number of people have the same fear. The fear just grows way bigger than it should.
Yeah.
And this is the same with laughter too. When you watch comedy alone, you just go like, But when you watch it with friends, suddenly it's so exciting. It's so funny. Where laughter is contagious, right? There is this amplification. So that's just a physical law. That's just a science, right? Uh, and then there are people who fear monger. They take advantage of the situation. So when you dissect this, you actually get to see what's really happening here. It's just a little bit of intellectual development. Yeah.
Right. But I love what you say that, sometimes you need to amplify things. Sometimes like people amplify fear. But what's going to happen is in this community, what we're going to amplify is we're going to amplify coming together and amplify healing. So I love that you talk about that. It's perfect because
Yeah.
we're going to launch a festival today with Sundar. If it's good at Sundar,
Yeah.
um, it's called Kaya Natin To. It's a 4-day mind, body, spirit festival featuring speakers and facilitators in the fields of art, business, healing, wellness, community development, and spirituality. And Prana World is a big part of this. And Sundar is from Prana World, so it's
Ah,
nice
okay.
that you're here and joining us. What do you say about, we talk about the effect of fear mongering and what happens when people spread fear. But what happens when the opposite is spread? What happens when people spread good vibes and positivity and healing and spirituality?
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for saying this. You're right. It's so earlier we were discussing this is just a science, right? When you bring a certain amount of energy together, energy amplifies. So imagine what we could do if we all had the energy to do good, right? We all, and let's say we all said a prayer at the same time, or we all did a meditation at the same time, or we all came together in a place like this in creating space. And together, as we listen to this talk, a lot of us are growing intellectually together. So the things you learn alone sometimes might be limited. But when we learn in a group, things that you never even asked, suddenly you start to have this information in your aura already. So things like this, it's amazing to, so if you're available, like Karen said, come to the Kaya Natinto festival, and together, as we learn as a group, the benefit that you gain from this will be significantly greater than you trying to do it on your own. you know that group energy, absolutely amazing.
That's true. I kind of agree. Speaking of group
Yeah.
energy, you're always on point, Sundar. I love it. It's time to actually share the video of the group. So we'll share whether you the people who are part of this kaya natin to there's a video and we're going to share with you the people who are part of this festival. Okay, let me just try to pull it up. There you go. Okay, hope you can see that.
Kaya lang. Kaya natin ito. Now,
I think I have to stop. I'm not sure if you're able to share. I'm not sure if you're able to hear the audio. Let me just like try to share it again. Okay. Were you able to hear the audio, Sundar, from your end?
Just barely.
Barely. Or the people, I'm not sure if you're able to hear it. So I'll try it again. But let me know if,
Maybe you could share it the same way you did with the intro video. Like you could just put it on the full screen.
right, right. Let me see. Let me see if I can, but if I can do that. In the meantime, how about we talk about Prana World? I'll share with them
Uh,
because I'm sure we talk about how pranic psychotherapy can help them. Is it correct that it's pranic psychotherapy
that's right.
specifically
That's right.
here? Yeah. Can you talk
Yeah.
about Prana World first?
Thank you so much for giving me the space to talk about. So I work with Prana World, and Prana World is quite a big organization. We're also international in a few different countries. And Prana World primarily promotes pranic healing in many different ways. So we didn't want to just keep it as an exclusive, only if you learn pranic healing, we're going to help you. It's not like this. There's also a lot of great teachers around. There's Buddha, there's Jesus, there's a lot of great teachers who've imparted a lot of knowledge. So we try to bring that knowledge into magazines, into articles, into audiobooks. And then we also try to run certain seminars. Some are paid, some are for free. So if you like to learn more about the science of energy, if you like to even try a healing session for yourself, so intellectual development is one thing. Actually moving forward with your life and achieving things, if you had some help with these things, it becomes a lot faster, a lot easier. So we also offer those services for prosperity clearing, for pranic psychotherapy to remove addiction and fear, or even if you're just having some simple pain, like if you had bodily pain or emotional stress, you could do simpler healings for those as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sundar.
Thank you so much.
And then so we'll try to share again the Kaya Natin to video. I worked on this, so hopefully you get to see it. Let's see.
Oh, and just to, sorry, I just remembered this. We recently, I just remember, we recently launched an app as well. So if you go on the Apple Play Store or the Google Play Store, uh, and you look for Prana World, all these things that I've just mentioned, everything is on the app. So you don't have to go running around thinking of time zones and who do I call, how do I contact the healer. You can just go on the app and everything is served to you right there. It's a very simple, easy to use thing, and hope you have fun with it.
book a session with you. They can also do that through the Prana World app, right?
Yes, yes.
So there, yeah. If you need to, but get in touch with Sundar. So here are the other healers. Of course, Sundar will be there for Kaya Natin to Festival, but these are the other healers you'll meet.
kaya lang. Ang kaya natin ito. Kita, jaga kita. Kaya natin ito. Now,
Some of the healers that you'll meet, but you'll definitely. We actually have initially just thinking of 24 healers, but it has building. We have around 30 healers now, so it's going to be a 4 day festival because that's something that we've seen. It's good that you're talking about fear. That there's a lot of fear that's coming up because of the pandemic. Of course, like Sundar said, it's fear based on reality, but some people just amplify it some more. And so we also feel that we need to amplify positivity and goodness. And I was reading through a book, and I think it was Renee Brown who said, "Let's be brave together." I mean, yeah, like Sundari said, sometimes it's better if a group works together versus one. What do you say about what do you say about being brave together?
Oh, I think that's lovely. I think that's the way we should go. So I remember this about group work, right?
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes when you let's say eight, I think the number was somewhere around 7 or 8. Okay, when you have 7 superstars, right? 7 or 8 superstars doing amazing thing, and we all know people like this, right? They're doing amazing things in their life. You wonder how does this person cope with everything, right? These 7 or 8 people, if they were to work individually, they would accomplish a lot, right? But if you take 7 or 8 just average people and you put them together and they work as a group, this 7 or 8 people will do more than the 7 or 8 superstars as a
Oh.
collective. Yeah, I think the number was about 7 or 8. So because in a group, what happens is that everybody has their strength and their weakness. So you're only pulling on the strengths of the group, right? Wherever your weakness is, someone is going to come in and help you out. So when you think of fear and you want to face it, you want to grow together, be brave together, when you go in a group, some people will help to pull you up because, like we discussed about certain topics that you brought up, a fear can be on many levels. So for the same problem, different people might be afraid of different aspects of it, right? So when you go together, you can pull each other up, and then you see, hey, look at this, we've achieved so much together, you know? It's so much easier than trying to do this alone. And you don't need to be a superstar. This is the mistake in some of our cultures. We say, look at your exam results. Who's the top of the class? Everybody knows his or her name, right? Who's the top of the class? Who earns the most money? But actually, if you think about it, stop looking at the person who is the best, but look at it as you yourself find people who are at the same level as you and go together, you will achieve so much more.
Right. That's interesting that
Yeah,
the ordinary people, 7 ordinary people, can do
yeah.
more than a
Then
superstar
seven superstars. Yes, this
doing
is a
things.
fact.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, now I have so much. I'm so excited because these are not 7 people. We have 30 people, and we have
Yes.
Sundar from Malaysia. We have another. We have Sarah from Thailand, from Bangkok, and we have many people from the Philippines. So it's really exciting what we're gonna do.
I'm excited too. I can't wait. It's December 3rd to 6th, right?
Yeah, it's December 3. That's a Thursday until December 6 until a Sunday. So yeah, I love it. That should be our slogan. Let's be brave together.
Yeah, I love that. That's really good.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sundar. Can you sorry I didn't ask you this, but can you lead us in a short meditation
Oh,
to
sure,
close
sure.
the session? Or a short prayer or a song or poetry, whatever you want to do to close the session.
Okay, great. So let's make this. So about fear, it's going to be hard to do a meditation on being brave, but maybe what we can do is that the theory is the law is it's in giving that we receive. So if we're trying to overcome a certain challenge on our own right now, maybe we can first send the blessings and the energy to other people who are facing similar problems. Okay, so let's do this together. We take a moment first. I want you to think about something that you're afraid of, something that's holding you back, a fear that you're running from, something you're scared of. Okay, just take a couple of seconds here. Try to think of something that just pops up immediately in your mind. Okay, good. Okay, don't overthink this. Okay, just in general. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try and bless everybody going through the same situation who's not as lucky to be in this call today, in this video today. We're going to bless them, and then we're going to ask for blessings on our own. Okay, so let's do this together. Right. I just want you to put your hands on your heart. Okay, you can just put it on your chest. You can put it in the Namaste position. Up to you. Okay. And you can silently repeat after me. To the Supreme God, to all the great, great ones, to the spiritual teachers, holy masters, all the saints, holy gurus, holy angels, archangels, healing angels, spiritual helpers, and all the great, great ones. We humbly thank you all for your many, many priceless blessings. Thank you for blessing my life with so much love, so much abundance, so much prosperity. Thank you for blessing me with good friends, with a good family, and with good opportunities. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So just put your hands in front of you in a blessing position. Okay. Now I want you to imagine, if you know this person, then imagine them. If you don't know a person that's going through a similar fear as you, then just bless the earth in general. Okay? So imagine this person, a group of people, or the entire earth. Imagine this in front of you. Now just be aware of your heart and send this beautiful, loving energy to all of these people. Silently say, you can make it. God's blessings and peace be with you. May your life also be blessed. May you find the courage to overcome your fears. May you be blessed to find the right teacher. May you be blessed to find the right help, the right funds, the right time. May your life be abundantly blessed. May you be blessed with waves of love, waves of light, waves of joy. Take a deep breath and exhale. Okay, now I want you to just put your hands down. Just relax. Now imagine yourself under a waterfall of white light. You are sitting in a waterfall. There's just all this beautiful white light pouring over you, going over your head, falling down to your shoulders, going down to your chest, your back, your arms. The water is covering every part of your body. It is also inside your body. You're covered with white light. It is going down, down to your trunk, to your lower abdomen, to your legs, and out through the base of your feet. You're glowing brighter and brighter. You're being filled with so much divine light and divine love. All your fears are being disintegrated, being let go. So I want you to bring your awareness to your physical body. Just be aware of your whole body and say, I am not the body. I am the soul. Imagine every cell of your body disintegrating and disappear. Now bring your awareness a little bit deeper. Just be aware of all the thoughts and emotions that are running through your mind. Any fear that you have is all disintegrating and disappearing. All of them falling into small particles, all of them being disintegrated and being let go. Your body is filled with white light. All that remains is just a white light. You're a being of divine love, divine light, and divine power. So just be aware, just soak in this brilliant light. Let go. Om. 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 Okay, gently come back to your body. Slowly come back. Move your fingers, move your toes, and we can just end with a short prayer of thanks. So, thank you to all the great ones. Thank you to the Supreme God. Thank you, angels, for blessing us, for guiding us. And let's also bless the upcoming festival. Thank you for blessing the Kaya Natinto Festival on December 3rd to December the 6th. May all the participants be blessed with spirituality, with illumination, with love and abundance. Thank you for making this event a beautiful success. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, how do you feel?
Very cute. Especially the waterfalls part. Like just
Yeah.
going under the waterfalls of light. That's my favorite. I'll try that. I haven't tried waterfalls of light. I'll try that in my meditation. It's so beautiful. It felt like a healing session. It felt like you healed us.
Yeah. Oh, well, you let me know how you feel. And for
Yeah,
those of you watching as well, if you want to leave a comment on how you feel, that would be great.
Sundar Atma Sundar. Also, earlier we talked about disintegration, and I couldn't understand it. But after the session, this short meditation, I felt that the
Oh,
that
thank
you're
you.
able. I felt that the energy of fear or whatever depleting energy that it's disintegrated. Like I really love it. Like it's like magic. It disintegrated, and they can
Yeah.
do it. And they can have that when they do pranic psychotherapy, right? That's what pranic psychotherapy
There
is.
is a better one in pranic psychotherapy, but I can't share that because it's part of the workshop.
Right. So they can
Okay.
so if they connect to you via prana world, they can have
Yeah.
sessions like such as this.
Yeah. Actually, pranic healing is in a lot of countries. So if you would like to learn, just look up your local pranic healing center. If you would like to learn from Prana World, if you're in Malaysia, well, come over and we'll share with you.
Yeah. Bastia Basha Gibson said, wonderful meditation, thank you. She's joining us from Cyprus.
Yes,
He said,
thank you, Basia.
yeah, I said very refreshed over there.
Thank you,
And
Ayi.
thank you, Sundar, for connecting us to Prana World. We're really excited that Prana World is part of this event.
Yes, yes.
And final words for everybody listening and watching right now, Sundar.
Well, I'd say just go on and live an intense life. Make your life as exciting as you can be. Don't be afraid to fail. And if you fail, so what? Just go out there and live your best life anyway.
Right. I love that message. Don't be afraid to fail, and if you fail, it's okay. Live your best
Yeah,
life anyway. That's a beautiful message.
yeah,
Thank you so much, Sundar, for spending time again with us. And we'll see you at Kaya Natin to.
yes.
We'll see
See
you
you
soon.
soon. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Nice and thank you, Sundar. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us.